Welcome to the Fishbowl Radio, everybody. My name is Chief, and thank y'all for tuning in to the show here today. I got Juicy with me today. Tell everybody hi, Juicy. Juicy, you there? Juicy? I think we might be having a little bit of technical difficulties here, but I guess it froze up on it. Let's see. I'm gonna get Juicy back online here. He was with me, so I'm gonna try to get in contact with him again. So let's see here. Let's see. Okay, I got him ringing. So, all right, welcome to the show, Juicy.
Well, hello. I think I got lost somehow.
Yeah, you got in the wormhole of death, basically, but you're okay. You are fine. All right, now that I got you on here, let's start talking about some stories here. That's why everybody listens to us and everything else, so it's better just to get this thing going. Let's jump straight into it. All right, Drew Brees is donating $5 million to the state of Louisiana in an effort to fight the coronavirus that is in the state currently right now. New Orleans has been hit especially hard by the coronavirus. Juicy, what you think about that whole entire situation with that?
They have. Hello?
Yeah?
Yeah, they have like over half the cases in the state.
Yeah, they have a lot of different cases and stuff. And another person that was affected is Sean Payton. We'll talk more about him later on in the show. But Drew Brees is donating $5 million, and this is the statement he had to say. Brittany and I are committing $5 million to the state of Louisiana in 2020. The priority now is helping our communities get through this tough time. After considerable research and conversation with local organizations, we will be mobilizing our partnership with Second Harvest Food Bank, Ochsner Health Systems, Walk-Ons, Jimmy John's, Small Sliders, and Waiter to prepare and deliver over 10,000 meals per day throughout Louisiana for as long as it takes to children on meal programs, seniors, and families in need. Let's all do our part, maintain hope, and get through this together. I mean, it's a glimmer of hope for a lot of people here that have lost their jobs and are filing for unemployment, the homeless and things like that. So these people are looking for relief, and this might be a good way for them to get that relief.
Yeah, I agree. It's probably a huge impact. I mean, already, our state, we have a fast-growing number of cases, but I mean, however, it's also, we're also testing at a lot quicker rate, and a lot more people are being tested at one time.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting kind of take on this kind of thing, because it's different. It's a situation we've never experienced before, or anybody has. I mean, we've never lived through something like this, and I've talked with people, and they've said they've never seen anything like this before at all. So it's like, hey, what do you do in this situation?
If we had 4 or 5 more people, like, to put 4 or 5 more celebrities like Drew Brees, put in $5 million each, that would really help out a lot.
Yeah. So I mean, we're not going to just talk about the coronavirus today, because we got other stuff that we're going to talk about.
I think they heard enough of the coronavirus.
Yeah, last week Brees did sign a deal to remain with the Saints for another 2 years. Brees' pledge comes shortly after Saints and Pelicans owner Gail Benson announced $1 million to respond to the coronavirus pandemic. The money will go towards those affected by business closures and event cancellations in New Orleans. The beneficiaries of this fund will be nonprofits working to support those in the service and hospitality industry, among other nonprofit groups. The Gail Benson Community Assistance Fund will be administered by the Greater New Orleans Foundation. Those interested can, add to the fund just contact them and they'll be on your way doing things. All right, let's get some NFL signing news. The Saints signed Emmanuel Sanders to a 2-year deal. They made one of the biggest waves in NFL free agency. They picked up wide receiver Emmanuel Sanders. Sanders fills the void of a solid number 2 wide receiver alongside Pro Bowl wide receiver Michael Thomas. That has been the Saints' biggest need over the past couple of seasons. So, what you think about having Emmanuel Sanders as someone to complement Michael Thomas, Juicy?
Emmanuel Sanders, yes, about.
Yeah, how do you think Emmanuel Sanders is going to be alongside Michael Thomas?
I think he was. I think he was a Pro Bowler this past year with San Francisco when they got to the runner-up, and I think he's up there in age, but I say up there in age. He's 35 years old, which is kind of old, but I think he'll complement Michael Thomas well. He's still got speed, he's got hands, he's a Pro Bowler. A lot of people already double up on Michael Thomas. They double cover him, so I think that way it'll free up other receivers, including Emmanuel Sanders. So I think if you a defense, you got to be thinking, well, I'm screwed if I am, and I'm screwed if I do, and I'm screwed if I don't. So I guess it kind of works itself out on opposite sides of the field.
Well, Emmanuel Sanders is 33, so he's got probably, even if you're not a speed wide receiver, if you're just a possession kind of guy, like how Michael Thomas is, he's not really a big home run threat, going to burn any people deep, but he's a really good possession guy.
Michael Thomas, though.
Wait, what?
Michael Thomas isn't really necessarily a deep threat, but he can catch anything that's thrown to him.
Yeah, that's why I'm calling possession receiver. He's not like a
but Emmanuel Sanders can get downfield, though.
Yeah, that's kind of a given, but yeah, like if the Saints, they've been needing that vertical threat, and they just needed somebody to kind of compliment him, get the pressure off of him, and that way they can actually work with it. So, in other news, Janoris Jenkins restructured his contract, signed a 2-year extension with the Saints. Safety Von Bell signed with the Bengals, but the Saints already picked up another safety in Malcolm Jenkins, which is, if you are familiar with that name, then he was already on the Saints when they had their Super Bowl run as a rookie. So he stayed to the Saints till about 2014. So he was a pretty, he's been very well known around New Orleans. So, okay. Next story here, Sean Payton was diagnosed with coronavirus almost a week ago. And according in all steps so far is that he is good now. He got cleared of it, which is very good for Sean Payton. He only had a mild case of it, so it wasn't too bad for him.
Yeah, we're happy to hear he's better, though.
Yeah, it is. It is. The Louisiana's deaths have went up to 88, I think. 80-something. I'm not going to try to do actual numbers, but...
Yeah, I seen it a while ago.
Wait, what was that, Juicy?
I don't remember what it was, though. Huh?
Okay. Also, Raging Cajun athletic director Brian Maggard released a message on the website of theragingcajun.com, and this is what it reads. It was posted on Monday, and this is what it says. Dear Cajun Nation, I trust this message finds you well, transiting to new ways of working, communicating, and entertaining self and family. Certainly our nation has been impacted by COVID-19 in unprecedented ways, and I thought it's appropriate to provide you with an update on intercollege athletic as it relates to our university, the Sun Belt Conference, and the NCAA. The university's leadership has done an exemplary job preparing for and transitioning the campus during this time. All classes have moved to remote instruction for the remainder of the semester, and our athletics academic support staff has worked tirelessly to develop remote service delivery systems to help ensure the academic success of our student athletes. Students residing on campus have been encouraged to move out of the residency halls. Those who need to stay will be allowed and will have access to dining and health services. Faculty and staff will transition to remote operations by 5 p.m. on Monday, March 23rd, which has already happened, in an effort to help mitigate the spread of the virus and to comply with Governor's stay-at-home order. The Department of Athletics staff have been analyzing the immediate and potential long-term financial impacts COVID-19 will have on our department moving forward. Please note we will identify and communicate plans associated with pre-purchased tickets and premium products for baseball and softball in the upcoming weeks. Patience and understanding are greatly appreciated as we work closely with university leaders on the execution of our business continuity plans during this time. Our digital and communication teams will continue to push out creative content on our social platforms along with pre-recorded education contests. Use your computers, tablets, and or smartphones to visit reducation.com Classic for your viewing pleasure. The Sun Belt Conference. On March 16, the Sun Belt Conference canceled all spring competition and championships, as well as any organized athletic events for the remainder of the academic year. This decision was made as a result of the ongoing developments surrounding the coronavirus. It is permissible for coaches to have virtual meetings with student athletes to review and discuss sports-specific topics, instructional activity, academic updates, and overall well-being. The Sun Belt athletic directors are meeting weekly via conference call to monitor and discuss issues such as, but not limited to, the student athlete welfare, extended eligibility, return to play safety, potential adjustments to upcoming seasons, impacts on conference and NCAA revenues. Okay. The NCAA, all NCAA winter and spring sport championships were officially canceled on March 12th. The Division I Council of the NCAA convened on Monday, March 30th to review several issues relating to granting an additional season of competition of student athletes. Key issues related to this topic, including squad size adjustments and scholarship limits. It's anticipated the additional costs associated with granting an extra season of competition will be the responsibility of each institution, which for UL could result in an additional expense of $400,000 to $500,000. We look forward to the D1 Council's decision on plans can be solidified with our student athletes soon. Our recruiting remains in a dead period, and spring signing days have been delayed until Wednesday, April 15th as of now, whereas the majority of NCAA revenue provided to member institutions comes from the men's basketball championship, and as a result of this cancellation, we are anticipating and prepping for a major revenue shortfall. On average, Sun Belt member schools may realize a $200,000 to $300,000 revenue reduction. Although we are in the midst of challenging times, I could not be more prouder of our student athletes, coaches, staffs, and fans. I encourage us all to stay positive and do our part to help mitigate the virus and maintain our strong sense of community, even if it's at a distance. Thank you for all you do for Raging Kid Athletics. I look forward to seeing everyone sing Let's Go. Brian Maggard, Director of Athletics.
Oh, it'd be interesting to see how football is going to turn out, though.
Yeah, a revenue reduction of $200,000 to $300,000 is something that was highlighted to me in that whole entire message. I do think they will grant an additional year of eligibility. It will be an actual official thing. It isn't official yet, but we have reported that it could become something in the future that they were talking about it.
Because it has to be one whole year.
Yeah, like you gotta the $400 to $500 in additional scholarship. The $400 to $500. Yeah, the $400,000 to $500,000 in additional scholarship dollars is just an estimate related to all of its seniors in the winter and spring sports that coming back. So, it's interesting to see how all this is gonna come about. Like you got to find money for all these student athletes with scholarships and everything else. Like I don't know what would be a very good thing for them to do. If you think about this, it is imperative and essential that you have all your pieces in place, and you got to have the right people at the right time. Because if you ain't got it all, you're gonna suffer.
Yep.
So, what you think about the revenue reduction, Juicy?
Well, revenue reduction is going to be, it's going to hurt the NCAA for sure, and it'll hurt. I mean, it'll hurt nationwide, everybody, but it's not. I guess you can't really fault nobody for it. I mean, and nobody planned it, but the bigger mess to me is going to be all this eligibility stuff they have coming up.
Are you in favor of giving a player an additional year?
A player what?
Like giving like a senior that was supposed to graduate and everything else. Are you okay with them players playing an extra year? A spring and
I'll
winter.
be okay. I mean, they got 5th year, 6th year seniors, even some palms, and they just play sports. They already graduated. They're not taking a class, and you see it happen quite often.
I think with everybody that could be possibly leaving, they could really solve this issue very easy. I believe if they keep the numbers, like make the seniors compete for a spot on the team, you know. Don't just give it to them because they're just a senior, you know. Because I mean that's how it is. Like if they don't like it, then they can just not worry about it. It's unfortunate, but I mean like I think just keeping everybody kind of like the number the same, and not like having the seniors compete for a spot and the coaches be like, all right, I know you're my star pitcher or you're my star point guard or whoever you are. You're definitely gonna get a spot on the team next year.
Well, basketball almost finished their season. That one's a little bit more controversial to me, but baseball, they ain't even making the conference play yet, and they pretty much pulled the plug on the season. So I think for sure you can call it a redo in baseball for sure. The seniors and all that, and whoever's going to be a senior should pretty much probably start next year too. I mean, at least baseball. Now basketball, you can talk all day about basketball. I don't know if it's more controversial to me because they played so much of the season.
Yeah, I kind of see your point there because the basketball players, they have more, like they had more than a half a season. I think they'll have to look at the
Biggies even played their conference tournament.
Yeah, I mean some of them did. It's kind of an interesting one, but I guess if they're like, you know what, we got to give it to the softball players, baseball players, we have to give it to the basketball players. But could you imagine if UL was like, all right, Summer Ellison, we are not going to keep you because you're a senior and yada yada yada. Of course, they're going to keep Summer Ellison. It's one of their best pitchers, right? In softball.
Exactly. You want to keep your best.
Yeah. I mean, like the other ones, all the other seniors should have to fight for their spot on the roster. I don't think we should.
I mean, I forget they even started playing baseball because the season didn't last long at all.
Yeah, the season only lasted like, maybe a month, maybe.
Exactly. They didn't even start conference play.
Because right now we'd be getting into conference play, I think. Probably.
It's a shame because softball was doing pretty well.
Yeah, I mean that's a shame too because if you're one of those teams that were doing extremely well, it's like, hey, what'd you do? Like
the season canceled or they just postponed?
Well, I think they suspended it all indefinitely, so it's like, what do you do at that point, you know? Like, you can't, like, if you push back baseball season, because the College World Series, it gets played in June. Okay, if they manage to even, like, I've seen letters being sent to, like, I've read letters that were sent to broadcast stations, and they gave a date of May 28th. This letter that they sent was if you got stopped by the cops or something, like if they did a complete, like, nobody on the road kind of thing. That letter was there for you to show them and be like, look, I'm a member of the media. I can go through here and they'll grant you access because you got said letter, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But they picked the date May 28th. And I asked the question, which is
For what, though?
of like, why did they pick May 28th? What was the purpose of that date?
May 28th for what, though?
I don't know. Like, they just have it ending in May 28th of 2020.
What, the baseball season?
No, not the baseball season, the letter. The letter ends. The letter started on March 9th when they got the first case in Louisiana, and this thing ends at May 28th.
That is kind of interesting. I don't know. Maybe it's all one conspiracy.
I'm not saying this, I'm not trying to be no conspiracy theorist, but this letter actually says May 28th. It said it ends on May 28th, 2020. Maybe they're going to reevaluate the situation at that time and see what happens. But back to the original discussion.
That's all I'm thinking. They're all going to get together and do a reevaluation.
Yeah. So, like, let's say May 28th comes around. We still got no baseball. We're, like, a whole 2 months from now, we haven't played a single baseball game, okay? If we extend,
ain't no point really.
If we extend the season another 2 months past Omaha, like the College World Series in Omaha,
Football.
it's gonna be in August. That thing's gonna be wrapping up, and we're kind of getting close to that point. But they haven't said that it's not gonna get played. I think it depends on if they can get this thing under control. In the meantime,
I mean, if they can get it under control before May, let's say mid-April maybe, I think we can have a short season and do it in July, or we could probably at least.
Yeah, I think if they can get this thing, they have to get this thing under control by that date that I said. I think May 28th is the kicker date. Because you're running into football, and there ain't no way, no one's going to go watch no baseball game or a football game. Unless you're a diehard baseball fan. If baseball has to be...
I'm not going to watch a baseball game over a football game.
Wait, what? What'd you see?
There won't be football either if they don't get this under control.
Yeah, there won't be no football season if they don't get this thing under control either.
But I don't see it going that far.
I don't see it either. I think a couple of months. I'm thinking this thing's gonna end, and I mean, like, we get a really good grasp on it by the end of May or early June. Is what I'm thinking.
Once you see the numbers start to go down.
Right now, they're gonna go up. They're gonna go up right now because they're doing tests. Like, I'm talking about this area because I know more about the area of Acadiana. They did a lot more tests. But there's a lot more people infected by this anyway. There's a lot. And the more, like, I've said this today to somebody. I've said, it might not be, like, I don't want the older people to get it because they've had a higher mortality rate. I don't want no one to die. But if younger people caught the coronavirus, and they don't have any, like, I don't want no one dying from this. I'm going to stress that. But if they ended up catching it, our bodies would create immunities to them, like antibodies, to where it's not as bad.
Our bodies are just a younger person's body is just more readily built because we don't have most of us don't have pre-existing conditions.
Yeah, but as you get older, you develop those because you know this thing doesn't work
When
as.
you get about 40, 45, 50, you start to get some kink in your armor.
It's like a vehicle, right? Baby's got no miles on it, right?
Yeah. Eventually, we get too many miles on our bodies, and they start to wear down a little bit.
Yeah. You gotta get your oil change and everything else, man.
You have to
like
bulletproof when you're young.
Yeah. Then when you get older, all them aches and pains start happening. Next thing you know, you're going into surgery for a hip replacement.
Health problems.
Yeah, like hip replacements and you know, there's a long list of issues, whatever you're gonna have, because we could do that all day long if we wanted to.
Exactly.
So yeah, like it might interfere with football. We'll see what happens. But I think if we
believe me, Fish, I wish we could sit here and talk about actual sports, but you know, we're down to talking about.
Well, the only sport that I know of, the cane cutters, they haven't officially canceled their season. They haven't played a game yet, but they're out there. They're looking to start the season.
When they usually start, when the cane cutters usually start.
Well, the thing is, they're going to play in front of no fans, which makes sense. But, I mean, I guess it is what it is.
Baseball teams will still be a gathering of more than 10 people, though.
Let's see. The Texas Collegiate League, the league that Acadiana Cane Cutters are part of, had a conference call meeting on Tuesday. The owners of the team remain hopeful that the season will start on time in early June. We are looking at all options delaying a little bit. The co-owner of the Acadiana Cane Cutters, Richard Chalmers, says, of course, we have limitation on how much we can delay because kids got to go back to school. As of now, we're saying we're going to start on time. I'll tell you, we got a bunch of anxious kids. Kids are ready to go. A bunch of fans are calling, are we playing? We hope we're able to satisfy them. So, the Cane Cutters may be the first team to bring sports back to Acadiana. Commerce says because of that, fans and players alike are ready to pack Fallbacher Field. So, it will be interesting to see if it's actually true. Can they do it? Can they not? Right?
We just wait and see.
They may be the ones to do it. So, all right. I think that's going to wrap us up for this week on the Fishbowl Radio. Thank you for calling in, Juicy, and being part of the show.
No problem, man. Always glad to be a part of it.
All right. Thank you, Fishbowl Nation, for tuning in and listening to us every single week. We hope that y'all like this episode. And if you have time, go listen to our other episodes so you can get caught up with everything that's going on with the Fishbowl Radio. My name is Chief.
If y'all want to. Can they ask us questions or comments?
Oh, yeah. They can chat while we're live on the air. I mean, you can even leave comments underneath our...
You can leave comments and questions for us on air.
Yeah, like we have a chat going on. People can do it while we're live on the air. If you see we're live on the air. I mean, we usually go live on the air for about 30 minutes. Just so we can kind of get some people, like, on it and stuff like that. So it's interesting to see how it all will go. I know there's been a bunch of talk about the stimulus check. So, that, like, 90% of people are going to get. I mean, if y'all got questions about anything, I'll try to answer to the best of my knowledge. Thank you for tuning in. Hope y'all see y'all next week. And I'll do it all for
Fishbowl. Good night, Fishbowl Nation.
See y'all later, Fishbowl Nation.